Hello and welcome to the Medlock FRB Health and Safety Induction. This video presentation will walk you through the Medlock FRB procedures and how we operate as a company. You will receive guidance on what we expect from you and what you should expect from us. Remember, nothing is so important that it can't be done safely.
All visitors and contractors must sign in and out on each visit or when leaving site throughout the day. We do this so that if there is an emergency, we know if you are on site or not. And our Medlock FRB health and safety policy can be viewed on the safety board at your own leisure.
The mandatory requirement for all visitors, staff and contractors working on site is a hard hat, high visibility vest and steel toe and midsole boots. Additional levels of PPE or RPE may be required as per your specific method statements and risk assessments.
A fire plan indicating emergency exit routes and positions of fire points are on display in each area of work. The assembly point in the event of an emergency will also be displayed. Please take the time to familiarise yourself with these. Firefighting equipment is available for tackling small fires, but you should only ever use a fire extinguisher if you have been trained to do so.
A first aid station and first aider will be available at all times. The first aid station will be located in the site office and the first aider certificate will clearly be displayed.
All incidents, however minor, must be reported to the site manager and entered into the accident book. Near misses, defined as an incident that does not cause harm but had the potential to, should also be reported.
Welfare facilities including dining, heating of food and water, hand wash basins and toilet facilities are in sufficient quantities. Please keep them clean at all times. Before construction work starts on refurbishment or demolition of any building built pre-2000, an asbestos survey is a legal requirement. Always ask for the survey information before work starts. If you see any suspect materials, stop work immediately and report to your supervisor.
No works will be undertaken until control measures are in place. Samples have been taken, asbestos has been removed by a licensed contractor and a clean air certificate issued. Additionally, all site personnel who have the potential to be exposed to asbestos during the course of their works must have asbestos awareness training. Contractors and visitors should take note of all site signage. It's been placed there to ensure the safety of site personnel. That means you. So if you're unsure about anything, just ask.
All electrical equipment brought onto site must be 110 volt or cordless. All electrical equipment used for construction must be PAT tested and checked every 3 months.
Any hot works will require the prior sign-off of a hot works permit by the site manager. A copy of the permit is to be retained by the operative until completion of the works for sign-off.
A risk assessment and method statement must be produced before the permit can be issued, and all relevant PPE, fire equipment and protection must be in place. There are additional permit requirements to break ground and to work in a confined space.
Copies of data sheets and cost assessments must be provided for all substances of a hazardous nature intended for use.
You must understand the risk assessments and method statements for these products and what to do in the event of an emergency.
All contractors are required to keep the working areas and walkways clear and unobstructed. Areas of work need to be cleaned regularly to avoid any build-up. Slips, trips and falls are still the major causes of accidents on site.
All waste and debris needs to be removed in a controlled manner and placed in the correct skip appropriate to the type of waste being removed. All powered plant and lifting equipment on site must be accompanied by a statutory test certificate of inspection. All plant operatives need to produce proof of competency in the form of a training certificate. Falls from height are one of the biggest causes of workplace fatalities and major injuries. Work at height means working in an area where if there are no precautions in place, a person could fall a distance which is liable to cause them personal injury.
For example, you are working at height if you are working on a ladder or a flat roof.
You could fall through a fragile surface. You could fall into an opening in the floor or a hole in the ground. Before working at height, where the risk cannot be eliminated, you must minimise the distance and consequences of a fall by using the right type of equipment. To combat this, you should ensure workers can get safely to and from where they work at height. Ensure equipment is suitable, stable and strong enough for the job, maintained and checked regularly. Provide protection from falling objects. Take precautions when working near or on fragile surfaces. Make sure you don't overload or overreach when working at height. You should do as much work as possible from the ground. Consider your emergency evacuation and rescue procedures. When making an assessment for selecting work at height equipment, the most suitable option must be chosen based on the task, duration, access and the environment.
Safe working loads should be clearly identifiable on all equipment. No unauthorised modifications are permitted. All scaffold is to be erected and inspected by a competent person before use. Never alter scaffold unless qualified and approved to do so by the site. Always plan and select the correct type of work equipment, and all operators must be authorised and certified.
When working at height, every employer will ensure that a ladder is only used if a risk assessment has demonstrated that a more suitable piece of equipment is not justified because of the low risk and short duration of use. Short duration is less than 30 minutes.
Please note that one set of ladders will not be appropriate for every task on every project. The ladders are required to be suitable for this specific task and location, and again, only where the risk assessment has demonstrated that the use of more suitable equipment is not justified.
With regards to the inspection of work equipment, every employer will ensure that where the safety of work equipment depends on the installation or assembly, it is not used after installation unless it is inspected in that position.
Physical evidence of the last inspection carried out shall accompany all such work equipment, and the results of all inspections made under the regulations shall be recorded.
All inspection reports shall be kept on site where the inspection was carried out. The site manager will run through the site rules. Please ensure you've understood these and ask if you have any questions. There are an estimated 12,000 deaths every year from long-term exposure to respiratory hazards at work. Ensure that your tools are fitted with the correct dust extraction or suppression kit. Make sure you have been face-fit tested and are provided with the correct mask. The main benefit of wearing a mask is that it helps prevent you from getting ill, therefore keeps you working. Specifically, it can help prevent the development of illnesses which can affect the airways and therefore reduce your length and quality of life.
Wearing a mask can stop you from developing the symptoms of respiratory illness caused by inhalation of hazardous substances at work. For example, coughing, wheezing, shortness of breath, chest tightness or difficulty in breathing. A badly fitted mask will not protect you. Consider other people working in the area. Be aware of the hazards associated with the tasks you are undertaking.
Inform the site manager and your supervisor if you have any concerns.
With manual handling, consider mechanising the task. Assess the task, individual, load, environment and training requirements. Consider specification of lighter components.
HSE inspectors will expect to find manual handling tasks eliminated by design mechanisation where practicable. All workers trained in basic safe manual handling techniques. Safe handling based on assessment of risk from manual handling operations. Cement dermatitis is a disabling condition that can end careers, which is caused by allergic reaction or contact. 1 in 10 people are susceptible, but this can be reduced by preventing exposure. HSE inspectors will expect to find assessment of risks from cement and management arrangements to control exposure, hot and cold running water, adequate sized basins and the means of washing and drying your hands. Regular skin inspections by a trained, competent person where there is a residual risk.
HAVS is an irreversible condition affecting nerves and circulation caused by vibration. Effect is cumulative. Each exposure can worsen the condition.
Harm can be caused by as little as 15 minutes exposure per day for some tools. The risk can be reduced and eliminated by controlling exposure. HSE inspectors will expect to find information on vibration and noise levels from manufacturers and hire companies. Risk assessments carried out using the levels to determine safe periods of exposure. Equipment and tools kept in good condition by effective maintenance systems. All contractors, whether direct of the client or employed by Medlock, are required to have a site-specific method statement and risk assessment which needs to be read, fully understood and signed up to by each relevant operative prior to any works commencing on site.
Remember, nothing is so important that we can't take the time to do it safely. If conditions change,
Stop, reassess the risk, If you can't work to your method statements or risk assessments, stop. Speak to the site manager. Speaking of which, the site manager will now take over and run you through the site specifics. We cannot stress enough how health and safety is our #1 priority. So thanks for watching.